This week's Torah portion is called Parshat Toldot, and in it we read about Isaac and Rebekah. Isaac, we know, grew up in the home of Abraham and Sarah. Abraham and Sarah, our first father and foremother, represented and embodied the attribute of kindness and of understanding the oneness of God in the world and bringing people to that understanding. They were open and they brought people to understanding God in the world. Isaac grew up in that home, and he is described as someone who is quite passive. We don't read about him burying his mother. We don't read about him going to find himself a wife. Abraham takes care of that by sending his servant Eliezer to find a wife for Isaac. And Isaac is somewhat passive, but he's a man who's committed to truth. He's committed to having a relationship with God. He exhibits a lot of self-discipline, personal discipline, and self-sacrifice, deeply committed to a relationship with God, growing up in the home of Abraham and Sarah. Rebekah, on the other hand, grew up in the home of Lavan, which we understand is a home filled with lying and deceit and cheating. And she sees in Isaac something so different, something so holy and so attractive, and she's attracted to him. And we read in last week's Torah portion, when she first sees him, it's so overwhelming that she has to put a veil on. It's too overwhelming and empowering her, that she has to kind of put a veil up to kind of block some of the power that Isaac is exuding. So Isaac is in the field praying, and she sees that and she's attracted to that. So we have these two opposites in Isaac and Rebekah. And Rebekah and Isaac, after 20 years of being barren and unable to have children. They have twins. They're growing in Rebekah's belly, and she feels them fighting inside of her. And she has a prophecy. God communicates to Rebekah and tells her that the older of the twins will serve the younger. Esau is the older. He's born first, and we read that he's born fully formed. He's developed, and he's hairy, and he's ruddy. His name is Esau. And then behind Esau comes out Jacob. And Jacob is smoother skinned. And Jacob becomes very similar, we read, to Isaac. Somebody who is learning Torah, someone who's committed to a relationship with God, someone who's described as living in the tents, meaning studying Torah all day, the yeshiva student, so to speak. And Esau becomes the man of the field. He's out there hunting and gathering and being very physical and very materialistic. And our sources talk about Jacob and Esau as being the two forces that exist in the world, the spiritual force that is represented by Jacob and the physical force that's represented by Esau. And these two forces together are needed to bring about the rectification of the world, to bring the world forward, to bring God into the world, both the physical and the spiritual. And for us today also, that's something that we're enjoying to do, somehow to use our physicality in spiritual ways, to understand that in the physical there is spiritual. Esau doesn't use that force in the correct way. And Rebekah sees that, and Rebekah acts. And she substitutes Jacob for Esau. When Isaac is about to die and he wants to bless his firstborn child, he wants to bless Esau. He sends Esau off to get him some venison, some food from the field. And it is Rebekah who substitutes Jacob, puts Jacob in his stead to get that first blessing. When Esau comes back and realizes that the blessing was given to his younger brother Jacob, he's very angry, and Rebekah is the one that sends Jacob away. So we have Rebekah is the active one, Isaac is the more passive one, and in this scenario, Jacob is the more passive one, doing what his mother tells him to do, to be substituted, to deceive his father and to run away. And yet, perhaps at the end of the day, the message is, are we able to take the physical and infuse it with spirituality, and take the spiritual and use our physicality to manifest that in the world?